Welcome to Reuters Events Pharma USA 2025. With me this afternoon I have Joe Daly from Addison Whitney. It's a pleasure to have you to talk with us today, Joe. Just to start off by talking a little bit about the company and sharing how the agency has evolved to meet the changing needs of naming in the pharmaceutical industry. Perhaps you could just talk to us a little bit about that.
Thank you, Jonathan. Addison Whitney is a creative agency that focuses on brand design. We're an agency that sits as a sibling company inside of Syneos Health Communications. And part of our work and an exquisite piece of our expertise is to name pharmaceutical products. And if I were to identify a trend or a dynamic that we're trying to address in naming, it's that the process and the methods for naming a pharmaceutical product haven't changed in 30 plus years, while at the same time, the dynamics around naming, specifically the availability of names that don't look alike or sound like existing medications, is a shrinking landscape. We feel like a different approach is needed.
Well, tell us a bit about that approach. The pharma landscape's constantly shifting. So what problems does ARI solve, and how does it address naming challenges that the pharmaceutical industry faces today?
Sure. We have to do a little bit of a step back for some context. When you are pursuing a pharmaceutical name, you have to satisfy really three primary stakeholders. You have to satisfy regulatory, legal, and marketing strategy stakeholders. You can think of it like a Venn diagram. The overlap of those three Venn diagrams is the sweet spot for where you find a name that satisfies. Here's the issue. The issue is that regulatory circle and that legal circle are actually shrinking in terms of availability. It's sort of practical. So think about it this way. Every time a new name gets filed or a new name gets approved, there's less room for an invented name or a new name that doesn't conflict with something else that sounds like it or looks like it. So those two circles are shrinking. That's the problem. ARI allows us to address what that translates into, which is attrition. So as you present creative, more and more of those names drop out because there's less and less space that's available. ARI allows us to explore a broader horizon of creative possibilities by deploying large language model capabilities against very large strategic database. And then our very talented verbal designers curate that database, and they allow ARI to mine that database to find strategic solutions that also satisfy regulatory and legal, more strident regulatory and legal requirements.
Right. Okay. I think it's probably worth just saying what ARI is. I mean, because we can guess what it is, but I think it's worth stating. Just tell us.
Yes.
Give us a layman's introduction to ARI.
Jonathan, that's a great question. So ARI is an AI-based name creation tool, and embedded inside of ARI are the screening capabilities that the industry knows quite well on the regulatory side and the legal side of name creation are embedded inside of the ARI platform, if you will. So that any name creation that goes through ARI is already being screened for regulatory and legal risk stratification, if you will. All being done in real time at the same time. So you might say, well, geez, Joe, what's different from how things have been done for the last 30 years. Well, that same process today is done very sequentially, almost methodically as a linear process. You create, the creations get screened for regulatory and legal viability, and then there's attrition, there's fallout, and you're left with some subset of what was originally created. Then you go back and you create again. You go through that same cycle over and over again. And what ends up happening is by the time you get to selecting a name, you're actually chasing letter strings to satisfy regulatory criteria. You're not creating a name that satisfies brand strategy.
Okay, there's another aspect of this, which is security and trust. And the team can, as you continue to integrate ARI into the naming process,
yes,
security is a top concern. Can you just tell us how ARI protects client confidentiality and ensures a secure naming process?
Yeah, quite simply, ARI is built on Syneos Health enterprise level security. What do I mean by that? Syneos Health is partly a commercial organization and partly a contract clinical organization. Syneos Health handles patient level confidentiality. We had 15 to 20 data scientists and security experts on the build team for ARI that came from the clinical side of the business. So we're quite confident that it's a very secure environment.
Perfect, fantastic. Now let's looking at market reception and client adoption. What feedback have you received from early adopters, and how do you see ARI shaping the future of naming in the pharmaceutical industry?
The feedback has been great. There's a number of specific experiences that I can think of to relate to you. One of them was very, very recent, where we used this tool, ARI, in a workshop setting with clients, which is unusual in that our clients, along with our team, could co-create with the utilization of ARI in the context of a workshop. So normally, we present names, a list of names to clients, and we review those names, and then we assess whether the names are going to be on strategy and work and going forward. We take feedback, return, develop a new list of names, and then come back for a review. In this instance, we used ARI in the workshop, took our clients' feedback, actually integrated that feedback into the prompts feeding ARI, and generated new names on the spot, so that everybody could see that the direction that was being requested was being followed in real time. An extraordinary difference from how the experience typically happens today.
Absolutely, absolutely fascinating. Joe Daly from Addison Whitney, thank you so much for helping us out today with these insights and really amazingly interesting stuff. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.